Hey all, 2-all at the Emirates. First leg Champions League game, Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. This was a weird game. Just ended. Had a really lot of trouble getting the stream. Very strange things happened. We're here in Buenos Aires. We had a couple, cutouts of power. Uh, Very very strange things happened. I missed a good chunks of the game, but I think everyone's aware of what the headlines are here. Bayern Munich came into this game after a pretty disappointing loss to a recently promoted side in the Bundesliga. Low on confidence, losing out on the league to play for, which may have given them something more to play for this Champions League fixture. But Arsenal coming into the game flying high, very confident. Bayern Munich looking for an outlet, looking for a way to reestablish themselves as a top team in Europe. It's a side that's had a lot of experience in these types of ties, and seemed like that showed today. Eric Dyer starting, Harry Kane starting, some scummy players that we have to watch. Serge Gnabry, formerly of Arsenal, Leroy Sané, we've been after him maybe during the summer, different things like that. Couple of people you just don't know about in the midfield. No, Arsenal should have. This had to be the game. Arsenal had to put them away. This was first leg at the Emirates. Bayern has a stadium ban, so no fans in the stands for Bayern Munich. You can't generate a better a better kind of intangible atmosphere for Arsenal to put this tie away and try to go into the second leg in a good position. This was a big opportunity, and it looks like we've let it slip away. It's not the end of the world. 2-2. It's less the result and it's more the manner of the result. And for this one, we can go to the Allianz. We've won there before, even when Arsenal wasn't in their pomp and Bayern Munich was. It's not impossible to do. We're still a great team. We could do that, but it's going to be much harder. Bayern will probably set up exactly the way that they set up here. A lot of their experienced players were able to show their experience today, and a lot of Arsenal's inexperienced players unfortunately succumbed to some pretty boneheaded moments. Just really shaky, and that's why the feeling is so crappy right now. It's just like, you watch the game, and you watch these games all the time, and you just want, you understand that, Arsenal is not going to win every game. You can't. No football fan expects to win every game. No football fan looks at the paper and says that whatever we write down in paper is going to play out. Whatever the expectations are, that's what's going to happen. But you'd love to just have a team come and beat you. Come and beat you and be better than you, rather than a team that comes in and just gets two of the jammiest goals you'll ever see. We've been stellar in defense this year. Recovery pace, maturity, composure, all these things, and it just wasn't there. I think part of this has to do with the team selection. Arteta opted to go with Kivior at left back and Jorginho in the middle. Jorginho obviously coming off 90 minutes at Brighton at the weekend. Kivior hadn't played for a couple games. Remember, we had Zinchenko in there for a couple of games. He might have seen some minutes there. Tomiyasu even came in. So Kivior, rested, but he's a center back. Hasn't played at this level before. And you're putting him up against one of the trickiest, fastest wingers in the game, Leroy Sané. Obviously, The narrative around Bayern is that they're not doing great, but that doesn't mean that they're not scoring a whole lot of goals and not scoring, not playing a whole lot of incisive attacking football. Seemed like Tuchel had the game plan pegged perfectly for Arteta in this game, and Arteta kind of walked into the trap. Tuchel was keeping both of his wingers high and wide, and every chance they could get, Bayern was just slinging the ball into the channels, having runners go off through the middle, just trying to beat us through the midfield with pace. And Jorginho was not equipped for it. Declan Rice wasn't equipped for it. We were getting sucked in to the attack, leaving big spaces out there. So I think we were kind of set up for this, and we kind of walked into the Bayern trap. But going through a couple of the major incidents, obviously Bukayo Saka is the one, I think, Arsenal player that comes out with a lot of credit from this game. He looked like our most dangerous attacking threat. He was even taking on Alphonso Davies at times. Really dynamic down the wing. Looked like he was taking responsibility. Getting on the left foot, coming inside, shaping that first shot past Neuer into the side netting. Beautiful, beautiful way to start the game. Really exciting. And we looked like we were off to the races. Arsenal looked dominant at that point. And I think we got a little bit overeager there because the first goal comes from trying to keep the pressure on. We have players sucked up into the attacking half, trying to get that second goal. And what happens? The ball squirts out, and I think this is a mistake by Raya coming out. It's Gabriel is going to get there first. He doesn't trust Gabriel to get there first, so Raya starts to come out almost a half field. Which what it does is it doesn't allow Gabriel to play the easy ball back to Raya to save the situation. He has to kind of dribble around, try to go out wide, then he picks an easy enough pass up the line to Kivior. Bayern wasn't pressing at that point. They had some runners coming up behind, but they were all ahead of the play. So Kivior had some time. You watch the replay. There's a little bit of a trip or a slip from Gabriel as he plays that ball. He's a little bit off balance, and that causes the ball to go a few inches wide of Kivior's left foot. Goes past him right to a Bayern player who's following up the play, and it's just a runner in through the midfield. Rice is unable to track him, and results in White is where he needs to be. But this is what happens when you're up against quality teams that have a Gnabry, Kane, and Sané at the top. You have to have players that can hang with them for just raw speed. And Gnabry, White was almost there. I think White wasn't the issue on this play, but this is what can happen to you. Bang, 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 and there you are. Gnabry in the box, just a little slip through, and Raya, is kind of stands like a statue as the ball kind of goes through his legs. Really tough way to concede after we'd had such a promising dominant moment. And so, and at that point, it's really stupid, it's really dumb, and so you want to get back on the ball and try to kind of maybe a cooler head will get on the ball. Maybe this would have been a moment for as we saw in the second half for Zinchenko to come on, put the foot on the ball, try to possess for a little while, absorb the blow and then go forward and put some more pressure on. But I think at that point we started to try to force the ball forward, and just another counterattack. Sané slipping through, turning Kivior too easily there, really tight to him on the touchline. But he's a center back. That's not what he's designed to do. And Sané played it perfectly. And I think Kivior needs to kind of probably bring him down. He needs to get a hold of his shirt and bring him down right at the beginning. If he waits too long, it's just too blatant. But you can't allow the tricky winger to turn you on the halfway line. If you're going to go in tight to him, if you're going to go in tight, you either have to win the ball or you have to bring him down. And unfortunately, Sane got away from him, and he had a 60-yard run basically all the way into Arsenal's box. Jorginho looks like he's directing traffic for most of it. He wasn't able to make the recovery run, but he's able to poke a toe in there, which actually takes it into allows Sane to keep his path going. And just Saliba, and maybe that's how Saliba got his angle wrong, knocked knees with Sane, and it's a penalty. I don't think we can have too many complaints about that. You could say it's soft, but you can't allow those situations to develop. And that's what, when we talk about maturity in these ties, this is exactly what we're talking about. Two bang-bang plays. You got to know at the beginning of those when to nip them in the bud, and we couldn't do it. And that's what happens when the strength, the teeth of the Bayern team, the personnel that no one would argue with as still top in Europe would be Gnabry, Kane, and Sane. And if you allowed those three to do what they want against you, should have been better game plan for the threat that they posed. But 2-1 down after Arsenal had dominated the first section of the game. So extremely disappointing. And this is where you give the team a little bit of credit. You give Arteta a little bit of credit. We were able to bring on a couple of subs, Jesus and Trossard. The game, there was some chances on both sides. Arsenal were not winning our 50-50s. It seemed like the ball was bouncing to Bayern. The referee, had a pretty good game, actually. It was kind of ruled with an iron fist, which, if your team is not doing what it needs to do, can rub you the wrong way. I think, found myself getting frustrated, but I don't think you can have too many complaints with the referee today. But they were able to kind of slow it down a little bit. The game started slipping away. A couple changes from Arteta, Jesus and Trossard, and a moment of brilliance. We started to get those intricate passes going. We brought in Zinchenko to kind of build it up through the middle. And with Jesus on, we did have the quality and intricacy in the middle to be able to dance past a couple of challenges, and then Trossard, Jesus dancing past a couple of defenders, almost like Özil against Ludogorets, just leaving a couple of Bayern defenders on their butts, and this time leaving it off to Trossard. For so many times, the frustration with Jesus is he's trying to beat one more. He just needs to know that if he beats two, there's probably someone open. And he did the right thing this time. He saw Trossard at the corner of his eye, laid it off top of the box. Trossard one hit, finish, passed it into the net past Neuer. A beautiful passage of play. And that's what Arsenal was capable of. I wish we had a little more time to build that up during the first half. If that personnel was on the field, maybe we would have had a better outcome today. But beautiful passage of play, and you got 2-2. And at that point, we had some time to get the winner. Bayern almost got the winner with a little flick off Kingsley Coman, who Tuchel had brought on. I think a really not a great sub there. I don't know what was going on, but he brought off Sane for Kingsley Coman. And Sane seemed to be really dialed into this occasion, and was looking to turn Kivior and run past him. And then Zinchenko came on. He was, you'd favor Sane, hit a couple runs at him before Sane got subbed off. But Kingsley Coman is not nearly as aggressive a player. He's fast and quick, and has a lot of quality, but not nearly as aggressive as Sane, just bombing along that flank. So I think that was a mistake from Tuchel to take away that threat. I don't know, something might have been going on with Sane at that point, but yeah, we had some time to get the winner. Coming into this game, you were thinking you gotta be at least two. got to be at least 2 to make this tie seem comfortable. We're never going to make it comfortable, obviously. This is Arsenal. What do you think this is? So maybe comfortable is too much to ask for, but if we could get a win, this was the time to do it. You got to go in with some type of advantage, and we couldn't get it. Couple sloppy passes at the end, forcing stuff, balls over the top to the keeper. Didn't have the composure at the end to find that patient build-up necessary to create another chance until the soccer chance at the end, which I honestly didn't see. My stream cut off for the very last moment of the game. Didn't see the penalty in real time. Folks are saying you got to finish that. I really hate when players go over and look for penalties. I think Kai Havertz, for however great he's done this year, dives far too much. I think if he runs through and is able to stay on his feet, he'll score a couple more goals that he ends up being on the turf for. And no one's going to give that to you, bud. No one's going to give that to you. Jesus does this a little bit too much diving. When I played soccer, this was not the way I played. You go down. The only time you go down is when you can't go anymore. And so, Saka's a strong player. He needs to be able to find his balance in that moment and finish. But, just really, really disappointing. For one of the first times in a long while, we could use the Arsenal, beating itself over the head meme of old. Some really boneheaded defensive performances, moments that let the game slip away, which is always the fine line against these teams. And that's always been how it was, and that's how it's continued tonight, even with a depleted Bayern side that were there for the taking. And so this can only be looked at as a really disappointing night, a night where you could say that Arsenal's dream of advancing into the semifinal of the Champions League on our first year back started to vanish away. It's a big job to go to Bayern. They didn't have fans in the stadium today. You have to use that momentum to your advantage and come out with an advantage. And we couldn't do it. And so now it's on to Bayern. Perhaps if we aren't able to do it at Bayern, this has been a historic season, Champions League run, so it's not the end of the world. There's still a Premier League title to focus on. I hate the bigger fish to fry argument. I hate the being out of competition so we can focus on other competitions arguments. But once you're out, the reality is you don't have to play in midweek, and you should be able to rest up, and you should be able to go full force against all of our Premier League opponents, which we will need in order to get wins at Chelsea, at Tottenham, and at Manchester United, or Chelsea at home, away at Tottenham, away at Manchester United, and all of the clubs we have to play and the run-in. So it's not the end of the world, but this is one of the more disappointing nights of the entire season for us. And it really sucks, and we're glad we could get it off the chest with a video, but not a happy one today. So Arsenal 2, Bayern 2, Bayern the winners on the night. They got exactly what they wanted. They take an even draw back to the Allianz, where they will feel that they could beat this Arsenal side. And Arsenal can go all out and see what happens. But this is the Champions League. This is what happens. So if we can't learn from this one, it'll be a very stern lesson for all these players for next year. Luckily, we still have the league to focus on. So that's the only thing keeping our chins up at the moment. But really, really sucks. This is not what we expected. But we move on. All right. Have a good night, y'all.